Hey guys, here's how to make the best pure mage build in Oblivion Remastered. Look at this idiot. Now, we're going to start with the list of staffs that are going to come in really handy. The first one that I recommend you get is the Goblin Totem Staff. This is the best early game staff, and you can get them from derelict mines or caves. So here are three that I recommend going to. You want to go to the Barren Mine, there's also the Derelict Mine, and the Plundered Mine. When you're in these locations, look out for enemies called Goblin Shamans. Goblin Shamans will drop the Goblin Totem Staff. And what this does is give you shock damage, so you can shock enemies. But if you want an alternative for a bit further into the game, this is the Mage's Staff of Shock, and this does better shock damage, so it's an all-around better staff. But you can't get this right from the early game. To actually unlock this, what you're going to have to do is do all of the recommendations from all of the Mage's guilds. After that, you want to go to the Arcane University and speak to Raminis Polus.
Good day.
He's in the he's in the Archmage's lobby during the daytime, and he'll send you off on a quest. And that quest is called a Mage's Staff. So do that one and you can get this Mage's Staff of Shock. But if we are talking the all-round best staff in the game, here's what that looks like. This is the Apotheosis. Now, a lot of people say this is the best staff in the whole game, and I am inclined to agree. This does fire, frost, and shock damage. You can go to the Imperial City and go to Rindir's Staffs to buy this weapon. Once you have 5k, you can buy the Apotheosis. On to the next set of items that are going to increase your damage and unlock loads of really cool effects for your pure mage build. But let me just say, if you're enjoying this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another one. Thank you so much. I really recommend this one. This is the Escutcheon of Coral. It's a really unique shield. It does fortify endurance on self, and it also does reflect damage on self. Now, that second one, reflect damage, is a really rare effect in Oblivion Remastered. Not many items have it, but the Escutcheon of Coral shield is one. To get your hands on the Escutcheon of Coral shield, you want to do the quest called Sins of the Father. Now, you'll make a choice in this quest whether to keep the Honor Blade of Coral Blade or give it to certain NPCs. Now, if you give it to this guy who is located in Castle Coral, he will reward you with the Escutcheon of Coral, and this is way better than the Honor Blade of Coral, so I definitely recommend getting the Escutcheon of Coral. Onto another item that I really recommend getting. This is the Mundane Ring. This also has the Reflect spell effect. This has 35% Reflect spell, and it also has 50% Resist magic, so really important I think for mage builds, and you can get this from the quest called Paradise. This is the 16th quest in the main quest line. How you get it is from Raven Cameron. Take him out and he will drop the Mundane Ring, but only if you are level 22. Another ring you'll want is the Ring of the Iron Fist, because you can have two rings in this game active at any one time. So the second ring you want is the Ring of the Iron Fist. This has Fortify hand-to-hand 25 points, but we don't really care about that. What we want it for is the Reflect damage for 33%. Now, in order to get your hands on this, you do have to do a bit of farming, but here's an easy way to get this as soon as possible. What you want to do is go to the Temple of the Ancestor Moths. This is north of Cheydinal, and you want to go into this place and do a bit of farming. So how to do this is progress through the dungeon, and then when you get to a door called Shrine of the Moth, save your game. Now go inside, kill the Blind Moth Prelate enemy, and then loot his corpse, and you'll notice a really rare and high level piece of jewelry. Now, if you don't like this, all you have to do is reload your save game and then go in again. Be at least level 20, if not level 25, to get the nicest rings and the nicest amulets. I do recommend bringing a lot of torches because it's quite dark, and a lot of lockpicks because there are hard locks throughout this dungeon. Another thing you can get from the Temple of the Ancestor Moths is the Necklace of Swords. This is the best necklace in my opinion, and it gives you reflect damage 33%. The best combination for reflecting spells, which is a really powerful effect, as I say in this game, is the Ring of the Iron Fist, the Mundane Ring, the Necklace of Swords, and the Escutcheon of Coral. So those four items active is going to reflect loads of spells and make you as tanky a mage as possible. But there are two more items that I really recommend getting for a pure mage build. The first is the Azora's Star. This is a Daedric artifact, and you can obtain it from the Azora's Daedric quest. What this is essentially a reusable Grand Soul Gem. When you enchant an item or recharge an enchanted weapon using Azora's Star, it becomes empty, but the star itself remains in your inventory, so you can just keep filling it up again and again. To get Azora's Star, you want to go to the northeast section of the map to Azora's Shrine. This is in the mountains north of Cheydinal. There you want to speak to the shrine at dusk, make sure it's dusk or dawn, and then you want to offer some glow dust. And this kicks off a mission which at the end, when you complete it, gives you Azora's Star. The second non-equipable item I recommend getting in Oblivion Remastered for your mage build is called the Ogma Infinium. This is a book that, once you read it, permanently boosts a series of stats of your choice. To get this, you want to go to Hermaeus Mora's Shrine. Hermaeus Mora will instruct you to collect one soul of each race, and in order to do this, you will receive the Hermaeus Mora's Soul Gem and the Mora's Soul Trap in order to complete this task. Once you've got all the souls, return to the shrine and activate it, and you are rewarded with this insane book. However, before you set off on this quest, you have to have completed all 14 of the other Daedric quests from the Daedra shrines. As well as that, you also have to have advanced to the Blood of the Daedra segment of the main quest line, and thirdly, be level 20 or higher. So this is a pretty late game item, but the Ogma Infinium is a really important book if you just want to take your mage build to the next level. Another thing you're really going to want to do for your pure mage build is to fortify all of your items. Now, to make your mage build even stronger, go to Frostcrag's Spire and then go up to the altar of enchanting. Now, here's a little tip. You can enchant your wrist irons, and there's a very good reason you'll want to do that. Wrist irons are the only indestructible gauntlets in this game, so you don't have to ever repair them. Not only that, but they also have no carry weight. What I like to do is put Fortify Magicka on them, so you just have a large Magicka pool, but if you have accidentally got rid of your wrist irons, or you've dropped them somewhere, there are ways to get them. For instance, you can do the Mehrunes Razor as well as the wrist irons. Just make sure to enchant all of your other clothes and just put Fortify Magicka on all of that. So your helmet, your greaves, your boots and your torso piece, just put Fortify Magicka on everything. If you want to boost your Fortify Magicka even more, I recommend getting Sigil Stones. You get Sigil Stones whenever you close an Oblivion gate, and you can use these to enchant your items. Sigil Stones do have random effects, but if you are lucky enough to get a Transcendent Sigil Stone, which you get at level 17 and above, you can then enchant all of your clothes and get even more Fortify Magicka. This doubles the ordinary vanilla Fortify Magicka, so it goes from 24 points to 50 points using those Transcendent Sigil Stones. Unlike standard enchanting, you can actually use Sigil Stones anywhere. You don't need an enchanting altar. You can just use it right out in the field wherever you are. It also does not cost any gold to use a Sigil Stone to enchant, and it doesn't require a soul gem. So here's my mage build, and you can see all the Fortify Magicka effects active right now. We have 24 points on my torso piece, we have 24 from the wrist irons, the chainmail greaves 50, chainmail boots 50, and also we have 50 because of my birthsign, and additional 30 because I am a Breton. So loads of Fortify Magicka effects active right now, just because of all of that enchanting I've just done. On to the spells now, and these are the best spells to make you the most powerful mage possible. Here's a really cheap and really easy spell to have. This is the Paralyze spell, and all it is, you want to do Paralyze on touch for 1 second. Whenever you cast this and touch any enemy, they'll instantly fall to the ground, and this opens up a window where you can attack them. It only needs to be 1 second because that animation lasts, that falling animation lasts a few seconds. So in actual fact, it's more than 1 second, and that gives you enough time to get your attacks in. Really, really effective, this one. These are the two most powerful spells you're going to be using for your mage build. The first is one I like to call Paralyze Everyone. And what this is let's just go through the list. We have frost damage on target, 3 points, 10 foot, 1 second. Shock damage on target, which is the same values. And then we also have soul trap on target. This one's really useful because you kill your enemies, put their souls in soul gems, and then these soul gems are going to recharge your staff. So that one's really important. We also have a weakness to fire on targets, 100%, 10 foot, 5 seconds. Weakness to shock on targets for the same values, and weakness to magic. So as you're doing the fire damage, you're also making them weaker to that exact fire. Now you want to cast that, and then after you've cast that, you want to switch over and cast this one, which I like to call Finish Them. What this is fire damage on target for 30 points, 10 foot and 2 seconds, shock damage on target 30 points, 10 foot 2 seconds, and also absorb health on touch. So the spell that we've just cast before is going to be exploited by this spell, and here's what that looks like. So we have a pair of minotaurs here, cast that paralyzed spell, and that's not only knocked them out, but they've also become weakness to shock and fire. And then we can cast the shock and fire finish them spell to do insane damage. I call this spell a Flame Friend. What this does is conjure a flame Atronach in order to come and help you out. And what it is command creature on target for 2 seconds. You also got command humanoid on target for 2 seconds, and then summon flame Atronach on self for 40 seconds. You can increase that to 50, 60 seconds if you want, but I'm just trying to keep the cost down a bit. You also want fire shield on self, 20%, 40 seconds. And lastly, really important, invisibility on self for 5 seconds. This just means whenever you cast your flame Atronach, all the enemies are suddenly diverted, all of their attention, it goes to the flame Atronach because you are now invisible. If you want to speed up your horse and boost them to incredible speeds, what I recommend is this spell. I call it Jesus Horse. Fortify speed on touch for 100 points for 120 seconds, and water walking on touch for 120 seconds. This is the result, an incredibly fast horse that can walk on water. In order to activate this spell, before you get on your horse, you have to cast the spell on your horse to activate the super speed and the water walking, then get on your horse, and yeah, this is the result. Okay, on to the next spell. If you want to get the absolute best prices in shops and make everyone love you, I recommend doing this spell. I call it the best prices spell, and what it does is fortify your personality 100 points on self for 2 seconds, fortify mercantile on self for 100 points for 2 seconds, and charm on target for 100 points for 2 seconds. The reason it's 2 seconds is because time stops while you're talking to shopkeepers and any NPC. Before you go up to any shopkeeper, cast this spell on them and their disposition will skyrocket, and you'll then be able to haggle them and lower the prices. This spell's also good if you've got a lot of infamy or people are hating you for some reason. Maybe you've turned into a vampire and they all hate you. You can cast this spell and make them love you once again. Some quests are actually locked when the disposition is low, and you have to increase disposition in order to unlock that quest. This spell just really helps with all of that. Make yourself faster with the super speed spell. This is pretty simple. Fortify speed on self and fortify athletics on self. Make these as powerful as you can. I've gone up to 100 points on both of these for 20 seconds, but of course you can make them longer if you want. And here's how fast you can be. Now there's something I haven't covered yet, but this is really important. This is your race and your class and your birth sign. The first one is the Breton. That's one of the races that will optimize this mage build. And the Breton starts with more magic. And they also have a really good feature, which is they're resistant to magic. So if you're fighting other mages, they will excel. The second race that's really useful if you're playing a mage build is the High Elf. High Elves have plus 10 bonuses to alteration, destruction, and mysticism. However, they do come with a downside. They are weak to fire, frost, and shock, which means they're vulnerable essentially to other mages, but they're most powerful against people who aren't mages. Onto the birth sign, and this is another one where two options really stand out. The first one is the mage, so just keeping it nice and simple. If you really know what you're doing, I recommend choosing the Atronach. This is not for beginners. The reason being you cannot actually generate any magic using the Atronach birth sign. So it gives you more magicka. It just means that refilling it can be quite a hassle. Now finally, let's talk class. and you'll be happy to know that you don't really have to play around with custom classes. The mage class gives you everything you need. In terms of leveling up, what I like to do is put all of my points into intelligence, willpower and endurance. In that order, so intelligence, willpower and endurance. Once these are maxed out, what you want to do is then put them into speed, strength and luck. So anyway, that was how to make the best pure mage in Oblivion Remastered. If you enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel for more Oblivion Remastered guides.